Kellen Correia, who is the director of the Friends of the Hunley Preservation Society. I think that's about right. And we're here at the Hunley Museum. It's more than a museum, isn't it, Kellen?
It's actually a working lab conservation center. It's the Warren Lash Conservation Center. So when you say museum, don't think Smithsonian, because we're in a temporary facility, but this is very unique as we're an ongoing conservation project. So you might see things you didn't get to see before because we didn't know about it.
You might wonder why it is that we're actually talking not in front of the Hunley itself, but that's because the Hunley is actually underwater in the preservation area, which is down at the end of the building, and it really is a workshop, isn't it?
It really is. Yes, the lab is very impressive in itself, but the Hunley not only is in sodium hydroxide, so we can't even really get close to it or we won't be here anymore, so...
Yeah, and there's a lot of glass, a lot of glass between us and the Hunley, so it's very difficult to see her.
Right.
So we're actually standing in front of, I think, a remarkable set of figures here. This is the crew, the representation of the crew. Just take us through them and how accurate we think they are.
So we did full replicas of the skulls, and anthropologists with the Smithsonian, as well as a forensic artist, came up with these, and these were done quite early. So, in 2019, 3D technology could probably come up with something else, but this is the best at the time we could do. The hair color and the eye color are artistic liberty, but very indicative of the Civil War time frame. Lieutenant Dixon, who was the captain at the front, he was always told to be fair-haired, so that's why he's a blonde. But we do have certain artifacts like a smoking pipe and also a sewing needle that we found with the crew, and they actually fit the teeth of those individuals because they would have put them in there so much, like I have it, that it wore notches in their teeth. So it's interesting to see those small human artifacts that they took with them.
And they weren't a homogenous crew in the sense that they didn't all come from the local area.
Actually, I don't think any of them are from South Carolina at all. We have four from the United States at that time, and then 4 of European descent. And we were able to tell that because of the bone density and the different diets that each region had at that time. And
what did they do? What did they achieve?
This was history. So the Hunley is not the first submarine ever, but the Hunley is the first successful combat submarine in the history of history. So you did not see another submarine until World War I. So this feat, although they never returned, was at least a successful venture.
And they did this at night, at sea.
They did this at night, at sea, and there's no periscope. So to try to visualize this, you are in the middle of the ocean. It's very, very dark. All they had was one candle to illuminate the interior. But if you're in a wet situation, if your candle's wet, your matches are wet, you're in the dark. And then you're attacking this ship, and the scale of it is huge. It's, probably 10 times the size of the Hunley. So it's really to attack something that large in the middle of the night. Well, not middle of the night, 8 o'clock, but it's still pitch dark.
Bent over. These guys were all quite tall and exhausted.
Absolutely.
The bulk of them, there's a helmsman, but everybody else is they're the engine plant, aren't they?
They are the engine. They cranked forward to go forward, and they cranked backwards to go backwards. So it really does give a testament to the men, for them to not only volunteer but to be selected, that they believed in what they were doing to get into this vessel.
This was 1863 that she went to the bottom. She was found in
1995 in May, and then she was raised August 8th of 2000. So it took about 5 years once she was located to come up with this engineering study and how you're going to raise the Hunley. Oceaneering, a wonderful company that does a lot of underwater, was the one who came up with the study and the plan to raise it.
And you were there?
I was there. I was actually there as a reporter, so I've had a very long lifespan on the Hunley project that covered it for a couple years, and then I actually jumped ship, so to say, right after the raising, and came over to work on the project. So it'll be 19 years this August.
I was going to say, and that enthusiasm, she's been with you ever since, and you still have it.
I've seen a lot on this submarine, so her and I have been together for a very long time.